Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. Ma tovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael. Welcome to Kabbalat Shabbat. Welcome Shalom Park, friends, neighbors, relatives, and guests. I'm Rabbi Bertie Becker, and this is the service that we do is from a booklet for Shalom Park, but all familiar prayers, just join in. L'chunranana l'Adonai naria l'tzur yeshenu, nikadma fanav betodah bizmirot naria lo. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose and meaning. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this Shabbat day fulfills its promise to us. Page 3. Come, let us joyously sing to God. Sing a new song, Shiru Ladonai. Shiru Ladonai. O haaretz. Shiru Ladonai. Shir Chadash. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru Ladonai. Kol haaretz. Shiru Ladonai. Shir Chadash. Sing unto God a new song. Page 4. Yismachu hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umlo'o. Adonai malach tagel haaretz yismachu iyim rabim. Anan v'arafel Svivav tzedek umishpat hachon kis'o. Light is sown for the righteous, and joy for the upright in heart. Exalt in Adonai, you righteous, and give thanks to God's holy name. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lahar kodsho, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Praise Adonai our God, and bow towards God's holy mountain, for Adonai, our God, is holy. We get ready to invite in the Sabbath bride. Come and meet my bride. Meet the Sabbath queen. Ya la 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 chadodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabala lechadodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabala la 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 shamor v'zachor b'dibur chad ishmiyanu el hamayuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem ol tiferet v'liti la 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 chadodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabala lechadodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabala la 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 likrat Shabbat lechuvenecha hi makor habaracha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'asaba makshafati la 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 kadodi likrat kala P'nei Shabbat Kabbalat Shabbat Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Kabbalat la 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 la. We get ready to greet the bride, to rise as we are able, either physically or spiritually, as she enters through. Bo Iva Shalom Hateret Bala Dam Simcha Sochalat Emune Am Segula Bo Ichala la 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 Chadodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat Kabbalat Chadodi Likrat Kala P'nei Shabbat P'nei Shabbat P'nei Shabbat Kabbalat la 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 la. Please be seated. As we bless the day, the Sabbath day, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, a song for the day of Shabbat. It is good to give thanks to Adonai. Tov L'Hodot, good to give thanks. Tov L'Hodot L'Adonai U'Lizameh L'Shimcha Elyon L'Hagid B'Boker in the morning and in the darkness, ve'emunatecha lebalelot, in the night, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la la, yalla la la. Tov L'Hodot L'Adonai L'Zameh L'Shimcha Elyon. It's good to give thanks to God. L'Hagid B'Boker Chastecha Ve'emunatecha B'Leilot. Alei Asur v'alei Navel, alei Higayon b'Chinor, ki semachtani Adonai b'fa'alecha, b'ma'aseh yadecha aranim. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall thrive like the cedars of Lebanon, planted in the house of Adonai. They shall flourish in the courts of our God. In their old age, they shall still produce fruit. They're still full of sap and freshness, attesting that Adonai is upright, our rock in whom there is no wrong. Tzadikata ma'yifrach ke'erez ba'banon yizkeh shetulim b'veit Adonai b'chatzrot Eloheinu yafrichu od yenufun b'seva d'shenim rananim yiyu l'hagid ki Adonai tzur Page 13. Teach me, God, a blessing, a prayer on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair, on the freedom to see, to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips the blessing, a hymn of praise. As each morning and night you renew your days, lest my day be today as the one before, lest routine set my ways. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Vaed HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Uma'avir yomu mevi laila, umavdil bein yomu vein laila, Adonai tzvaot shemo. Praised are you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way in which time and seasons glide. Your breath guides the sails of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night as heaven spans to infinity. You set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, from whom the evening flows, and from whom love flows. Ahavat Olam, love of the world. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot u'kim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu v'shochbeinu v'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam vaed ki hem hayenu v'orech yameinu uvahem negeh yomam v'layla ve'ahavatcha el tasir mimenu le'olamim Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavacha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'aderech uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha ug'shartam le'ot al yadecha v'hayu l'totafot bein einecha uchtavtam Al mezuzot beitecha uvish arecha. And the third paragraph is in English on page 19, second paragraph. You shall make for yourself seat on the corners of your garment throughout the ages. The seat are a reminder to do my mitzvot so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai, your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai, your God. And when we left Egypt, we of course had to cross the Sea of Reeds. And Miriam led the women in song and in dance, and the men joined them. Who among you compares Adonai? Who is as glorious? Mi chamocha v'lim Adonai, mi kamocha nedor b'kodesh, nora tehilot, o sefele, nora tehilot, o sefele. Mahudecha ra'uvanecha bokei ayam lifnei Moshe Ze'eli anu ve'amaru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Michamocha ve'lim Adonai Mikamocha nedar b'kodesh nora tehilot o sefele nora tehilot Osefele, b'nemar kifod Adonai et Yaakov, ugoalo miyad hazak mimenu, baruch atah Adonai ga'al Yisrael, michamocha v'lim Adonai, mikamocha nedor b'kodesh, nora tehilot, Osefele, nora tehilot, Osefele. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, u'shmor tzeitenu uvo'enu l'chaim u'l'shalom, me'atah v'ad olam. Spread over us the shelter of your peace, and guide us with your good counsel. Ufros aleinu Sukkot, shalomecha ufros aleinu Sukkot, shalomecha. We rejoice that we were granted Sabbath day. We will watch it. We will observe it. V'shamaru b'nei Yisrael et ha-shabbat la'asot et ha-shabbat l'dor tambarit olam. Beini uvein, b'nei Yisrael, od hi le'olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-shabbat la'asot et ha-shabbat l'dor tambarit olam. Ki sheshet yamim Asadonai, et hashamayim, ve'et haaretz, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael, et hashabat, la'asot et hashabat, l'dor tambarit olam, uvayom hashvi'i, shavat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash, Shabbat v'yinafash, v'shamru b'nei Yisrael et לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. We rise for the Hatzi Kaddish as we are able, physically or spiritually, on page 26, to be followed by the conversation with God, Hatafila, the Amidah, the standing prayer. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabba ba'alma dibra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chaye docho beit Yisrael bagala Uvizman kariv v'maru amen. Yehi shemei rabba mevarach la'olam u'lalmei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal Shemei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran belma v'maru amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel chasadim tovim, v'konei hakol, v'zocher chasdei avot, u'mevi goel livnei v'neihem, l'ma'an shemo, v'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ufoked Sarah, Atagi Borlel Adonai, Mechaye Metim Atarav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, Umarid HaGashem, Mechakel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye Metim Berachamim Rabim, Somech noflim v'rofei cholim u'matir asurim u'mekayem emunato lishenei afar milchamocha ba'al gevurot u'mido melech memit U'mechayeh u'matzmiach Yeshua v'ne'emanata l'hachayot metim. Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hametim. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el HaKadosh. Praised are you, Adonai, the holy God. Page 33. Heaven and earth and all their beings were finished, and God completed on the seventh day the work that had been done, and ceased upon the seventh day from all the work that had been done. God blessed the seventh day and set it apart, for on it God had ceased from all the work that had been done in carrying out creation. Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu, Ritzei v'Mnuchatenu, Kadshenu b'mitzvotecha, v'tein chelkeinu b'toratecha. Zabeinu mituvecha, v'samchenu b'shuatecha. V'tahel libeinu, v'tahel libeinu, v'avdecha v'emet, v'anhileinu Adonai Eloheinu b'ahava v'ratzon shabbat kodshecha, v'yanuchu v'Yisrael mekadeshei shemecha. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Grant lasting peace to your people Israel and to all who dwell on earth. For you are the sovereign Lord of peace. May it please you to bless your people Israel in every season and at every moment with peace. Bottom, page 35. Lo yisa goy el goy herev, lo yimadu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy herev, lo yimadu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy herev, lo yimadu od milchama. Lo yisa goy el goy herev, lo yimadu od milchama. And every man neath his vine and fig tree shall live in peace and unafraid. And every man neath his vine and fig tree shall live in peace and unafraid. And into plowshares beat their swords, nations shall learn war no more. And into plowshares beat their swords, nations shall learn war no more. Baruch atah Adonai hamavarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. Take a moment for silent prayer. Oseh shalom bimromah, Yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael imaru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'maru amen. And it is time for our weekly story. So this week's parsha is called Miketz. And in the Torah portion, we read about Joseph still interpreting dreams, this time the dreams of Pharaoh. And in the Haftarah portion, we also read about someone interpreting dreams, Solomon. And we read about the wisdom of King Solomon. And so I thought I would share with you a story that perhaps you don't know about King Solomon, but still shows that he's wise. It's called The Wind, the Widow, and Solomon. and it's in 52 Jewish Stories from the Sages by Barbara Diamond Golden. Once there was a widow who lived in a little house by the sea. Though she had very little, she still gave more than her share to charity. Each day she baked 3 loaves of bread. 2 she gave to the poor, and 1 she kept for herself. One day a beggar came to her door wearing the tattered clothes of a seaman. "My ship has wrecked on the storm, and I lost everything. Do you have any food for a hungry man?" Gladly. The widow gave the man 1 of the loaves of bread that she had baked. The beggar had barely gone when there was another knock on the door. A second beggar stood outside, his clothes ripped and his face smeared with dirt. "I've escaped the slave traders," he explained, "and I'm trying to find my way home. Please, some bread for a hungry man?" Gladly, the widow gave the second loaf. She sat down at the table, knife in hand, to cut herself a slice of the 3rd loaf when there was a knock on the door. "Never have I had so many people pass my house," she thought. When she opened the door, the widow saw a 3rd beggar standing there. His clothes were those of a prosperous merchant, though torn and soiled. "I was robbed on the highway," said the man, his voice quivering. "They took all my belongings. I managed to get away. Do you have any food to spare for me?" The widow felt sorry for the man, and even though she had only one loaf left, she gave it to him. "What will I do now?" she wondered after he left. "I gave away my last loaf, and I am hungry. I have not yet had breakfast." The widow looked around her kitchen to see if there was any flour left, but there was none. So she went to her supply of winter wheat and filled a sack with the dry kernels. "I will have to grind more flour," she thought, and left her little house, went to the mill by the river near the sea, and there she ground her wheat into flour and filled the sack. On her way home, the winds off of the sea picked up the poor widow and blew her about. She held on tightly to her sack and kept walking, but a great gust came and blew all around her, spinning her, and carrying off her sack. "Here I have fed 3 beggars with my bread, and you come and take my flour?" she called angrily to the wind. Instead of returning home, the widow decided to go to King Solomon. She would present her case against the wind before him and before the high court. After a journey of several days, the widow came to the palace and asked for an audience with the king. She told him and the sages all about the 3 loaves of bread and the flour and the wind. Then she asked, "Is it possible to conduct a trial against the wind for taking my flour? I am poor. I have little. I cannot bear to lose a sackful of flour." And just as she finished speaking, 3 merchants came bursting into the court, carrying an open chest filled with gold coins. "We wish to give these coins to the poor people of your land," they told Solomon. "Why such a large sum?" asked the king. "We were traveling in a ship filled with precious cargo not long ago, when a storm arose. It threw our boat about and ripped a hole in the side, and water came pouring in, filling the boat. We tried to stuff the hole with rags and pieces of clay, even our own clothes. But whatever we tried to stuff into the hole, the winds just tore away. Meanwhile, the boat was sinking ever faster. We prayed to God. We promised that if we were saved from the awful storm, we would give all the money on board to charity. And this was our first stop." Suddenly, the waters stopped filling our boat. As the storm subsided, we saw that something had filled up the hole. "What was it?" asked Solomon. "An old sack," the merchants explained. "Please bring it to me," said the king. So the merchants went back to their boat, and when they returned with the sack, the widow cried out, "That's my sack, the one that I filled with flour, the one the wind carried out to sea." "Then this gold is rightly yours," said Solomon, "for the wind took your sack to save the lives of these merchants, and now it has returned it to you with your reward." The widow thanked King Solomon and the merchants. Satisfied, she took her reward back to her little house by the sea. There she continued her life as before, except now that she had no worries, she gave more than her share to charity. And now we remember those who are in need of our prayers. And we raise up our voices for those who are sick, physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, those who are taking care of the sick. We include them in our prayers, that they have strength and wisdom. Makor habracha imotenu. May the source of strength who bless the ones before us help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing. And let us say, Amen. Yishaberach imotenu makor habracha avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, So send those good thoughts of healing out into the world, far beyond our country, all around the world, to those that you love, to those you may not even know, and up into the heavens. Page 39. We rise again as we are able, spiritually or physically. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, atei gedula liyotzeh bereshit, shelo asanu kegoyei haratzot, v'lo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'goraleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim Umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamelachim hakadosh baruch hu. It is up to us to hallow creation, to respond to life with the fullness of our lives. It is up to us to meet the world, to embrace the whole, even as we wrestle with its parts. It is up to us to repair the world and to bind our lives to truth. And therefore we bend the knee and shake off the stiffness that keeps us from the subtle graces of life and the supple gestures of love. With reverence and thanksgiving, we accept our destiny and set for ourselves the task of redemption. Kakatuv b'tortecha Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'nemar v'haya Adonai l'melech al kol ha'aretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who have died in this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own, Zikronam Livracha. May their memories be for a blessing. In the coming week at Shalom Park, we remember Janice Grinton, Stella Alteras, Harold Coinzen, Ella Spitzer, Arthur Mack, Alex Simon, Esther Gilman, Helen Schneider, Adelbert Buchwald, Eugene Staskin, Nelson George, Iona Dolganos, Frida Lewis, Sam Fireman, Rose Snarch, Jeanette Cohn, Miriam Brodsky, Rosa Gelber, Louise Landy, Robert Schiff, Bernard Ribicoff, Thelma Merlin, Lena Robinson, Doris Wolfe, Barbara Humphrey, Bonita Hutchins, Nancy Feitmaster, Gilda Tain, Francis Hansen, George Pierce, Anne Stanley, and Victoria Beck. Kaddish is on page 45. If you are observing a yahrzeit, an anniversary of a death, if you are in Shloshim, the 30 days, or in Shiva, the 7 days, please join me. Or if it is your custom to say Kaddish for those who have no one to say it for them. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah ba'alma di v'ra chirute v'yamlich malchute v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael ba'galal v'zman kariv v'imru amen Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach la'olam u'almei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal Shmeid Kudusha Barichu Le'ela Minkol Birchata V'Shirata Tushbechata V'Nechemata Da'amiran Ba'alma V'Imru Amen Yehei Shalama Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chayim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen Oseh Shalom B'Mromav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'al kol yoshvei tevel, and all who dwell on earth, v'imaru. Amen. And we are seated. It's time to light candles and to say Kiddush and Motzi. So first, we have our candle lighting. I'll put them over here so that they don't burn anything except the wax on the candles. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddeshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. And we do Kiddush. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Ore Pri Hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maaseh b'reshit, ki hu yom tehillah l'mikra kodesh, zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim, ki vanu v'charta, otanu kiddushta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha, b'ahava u'b'ratzon, hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Amen. And we do motzi over challah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. And we finish with inviting the angels to join us. Shalom Aleichem. Angels are another name for feelings. When we love and act with kindness, we create angels of love and kindness. It is our job to fill our world with angels and messengers of love and of kindness, who link people together as one family. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malchei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem LaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malchei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Barhuni LaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malchei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Zeitchem LaShalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malchei HaMalachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. May the coming week be filled with blessings and with angels for you. Shabbat Shalom. I'll see you next time.